This is Steve Delisant, and I'm joined by Eric Kinariwala, the CEO and founder of Capsule Pharmacy. Thanks for being with us today, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
I'm really excited to dive in today. I've had a lot of opportunity to dive into a little bit about Capsule and about the company you started and how it was founded. So I'd love to start there and really take a look back on your journey.
Sure. The origin of Capsule is in some ways just an outgrowth of my own personal experience. And so I was living on the Lower East Side of New York, and I woke up one morning with this terrible headache,
Okay.
head pounding, and called my doctor. And he asked me a series of questions, and at the end said, "Hey, you've got a sinus infection. I'll call a prescription and go get it." And I was like, "Perfect." And so I put my coat on and I went down, the flight of stairs and out on the snowy January morning on Lower East Side, and I walked to a chain pharmacy at Delancey and Orchard, which is still there. And when I got there, literally everything you can think about going wrong with the pharmacy went wrong for me. I'm, in this store, and I actually am walking past aisles of like tissues and toilet paper and cigarettes, and I actually don't even see where the pharmacy is. And so finally I asked somebody, and they're like, "It's in the basement." And so I kind of get to the back of the store. I walk down this broken escalator. I get to this dark, dingy basement. There's, 30 people in line ahead of me, and my cell phone doesn't have signal in the basement. And so I finally, I wait an hour. I get to the counter, and I ask the pharmacist, I'm like, "Hey, my doctor called on a prescription. Do you have it?" And she's friendly, but totally overworked. And so she goes back into the stock room and rummages around and comes back with this really despondent look on her face. Like, "I'm really sorry. We don't have this in stock." And I'm kind of like, "How do you not have a Z-Pack in January in the
Yeah.
winter?" I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll just call my doctor and have him call him somewhere else." And as I pull my cell phone out to do this, of course, my cell phone has died searching for signal
Oh my
in the
gosh.
basement. So I went home, no medication in hand. I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning. And I think I had one of those moments that a lot of entrepreneurs have, which is just like, what the F is going on?
Yep.
And I just started unpacking and on that thread. These really basic questions like, how does a pharmacy work? Why are there so many? Why do you sell cigarettes and insulin in the same place? And pretty quickly as I was doing that, I realized how it connected to a couple of themes that I'd been excited about an investor. And I'd
Mhm.
spent the early part of my career as an investor, investing in retail, healthcare, and technology companies. And so as I kind of really understood the mechanics and all these
Mhm.
like very 5-year-old type of questions about the pharmacy, really understood two things. One, it turns out the pharmacy, which probably none of us ever think about, is this massive industry. It's 70,000 stores, like almost twice as many as there are grocery stores. It's $400 billion. It's the second largest category of retail. And maybe more interestingly, it's on the healthcare side, it's the most frequent interaction that any of us will
That
ever
makes sense.
have
Yep.
in pharmacy. The average person goes to the pharmacy like 10 times more often than their doctor.
Mhm.
And so you kind of have this really interesting thing. It's sort of the intersection of retail and healthcare, and both of those things at that time were undergoing massive shift. Retail in terms of, hey, everything that you do now is living on your phone,
Yep.
and healthcare is moving slowly to this world where it's not going to be the more often you go to your doctor, the more money your doctor makes. It's going to be a world where your doctor just gets paid to take care of you. And if they do a great job, great. And if they do a bad job, like tough luck, you should get better.
Yep.
And the pharmacy sits at the perfect intersection, these two massive themes. So that's their origin story. And sort of got very excited about it and kind of did the research and kind of understood like, yeah, how would you make this better?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the start of the journey.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to Google those cross streets and see where the pharmacy was. But I'm sure everybody that's listening has that same exact experience. I know I could think of different times that I'm in the pharmacy. Like, I'm so sick. I'm waiting in this hour line. You get to the front of the line. They're like, "Oh, we actually can't find your prescription. Can you have your doctor recall it in, get to the back of the line, have to wait all over again?" So
There's
completely could relate to that basement story.
it's such a shared truth. Like everyone really can empathize with that, whether it's for themselves or their family members.
Totally.
70% of American adults go to the pharmacy at least once a month. I mean, it truly impacts
Yeah.
everybody, and so there's a big opportunity to make it
100%.
better.
It sounds like it's much needed in the space too. So you yourself, you've spoken on various high-profile conferences like Shop Talk, TechCrunch, What are some key messages that you like to relay when you're at these speaking engagements, and how do they align with Capsule and the mission values of the company?
Sure. So when we started the business, we spent a lot of time really honing in on the mission and the values and the culture
Hmm.
of the company, and started very first principles actually with a really basic question of what is culture, which not a lot of people actually sit down and think back and ask. Right? I think there's just a common perception in a
Yep.
startup like culture is if everyone's having a good time and getting beers after work and playing pool, like you have a great culture. And
Yep.
I think there's something much, much more substantive behind that. And so after sort of a lot of conversations with other successful executives and entrepreneurs, a lot of reading about cultures, not only in companies, but across the board, sort of formulated my own perspective on like what is culture. And the way I would define it is that every organization has a culture, whether it's your family, your friend group, your coworkers, your church group, your sports team,
Yep.
and that culture can be either intentionally designed or unintentionally formed. But culture for us is really nothing more, nothing less than what are the behaviors that the group accepts and rewards, and what are the behaviors that the group rejects and punishes.
Hmm.
And so it can be everything as simple as maybe when you were growing up, when you put your elbows on the dinner table, your mom gave you a little smack. That's culture.
Yeah.
Or if you got up from the dinner table, you had to put your dish in the dishwasher.
Yep.
Not every family was like that, and so they had a different culture. And then companies are the same way. There's a set of things that you want to reward and promote, and there's a set of things that you want to make sure people aren't doing.
Hmm.
And with that as a framework, what we realized is that different companies can have different cultures and be equally successful, however you define success, whether that's financial success or impact on the world, right? Google and Amazon, two very big companies,
Yep.
two very different companies, very different cultures. And so what I came to appreciate is that the culture of your company has to be aligned with the mission and objectives in the industry that you operate in.
Yep.
And so for us, we tried to keep it very simple and kept the culture to basically two values. And value one is everybody needs some looking after sometimes. And value two is winning together. And everybody needs some looking after sometimes is the idea that the best companies in the world are internally and externally aligned. The
Hmm.
promise you make to your customers is the same promise that you make to the team. And so
Yep.
for us, the promise to our customers, whether you're a consumer or a doctor or any other kind of person we serve, is we're always going to have your back. We're in your corner and we're going to make your life easy so you can go and live and do the things that you want to do. We're going to enable you to live your best life. And the way that translates internally is that we believe that everyone on the team's job is to enable everyone else to be their best selves. And so that's sort of value one. And then value two, winning together, is pretty straightforward. It's really how we hire. We want people, winning is defined as accomplishing ambitious objectives, and together is doing that in a way that uplifts the people that are around you. And so we want folks that not only can get really hard and complicated things done, but that they do that in a way that inspires the people around them
Yeah.
to shoot higher. So lots of people can get things done, but they're terrible to be around. And there's lots of people that are super fun to be around, and they never get anything done. We want people that can do both. But those are the core values of the company. And then the mission of the company is to build a pharmacy system that works for everyone, and that's not only consumers, but it's the way the pharmacy set up today is really subpar for doctors and
Hmm.
hospitals and insurance companies and drug companies. And so to build something that really works for all of those people, it gives them the peace of mind that comes with having somebody in their corner all the time,
Yep.
looking after their healthcare.
That's awesome. I couldn't agree more. I think culture and mission are two of the most important things for any company. So as you guys are expanding, what are some things that you're doing as CEO to keep that mission, keep that culture top of mind, and keep it living with all your employees?
I wish I had the sort of a magic bullet answer. I think honestly, it's a lot of repetition and
Yep.
it's weaving it in through all of the different processes and rituals of the company. And so it's when we're recruiting and interviewing people, we're very upfront about these are what our values and culture are, and you should explicitly opt into them
Hmm.
if you want to work in this environment and you think you can thrive in this environment. Like, is this type of culture going to enable you to do the best work of your career?
Hmm.
That's our goal. Everyone comes in, we want you to do the best work of your career and create the conditions that can do that. we do it as part of onboarding. We have, I spend time with all of the new hires and talk about what is the culture and how did it come and how does it impact our customers and how does it impact our team. And then we do that, along the entire life cycle. We incorporate it into how we do performance reviews and compensation, and constantly sort of reinforcing the words. And honestly, it's a lot of repetition and weaving it in through different parts of how people interact.
I'm sure one of the biggest roles as CEO is your people, right? And it's helping them grow and develop future leaders of the company. What are some things that you guys do internally to expand people's leadership skills and help them grow within Capsule?
So one of the things that I really believe in terms of how people's careers progress and how we think about managing, people's career, helping them manage their own careers. I don't know that we believe in the company managing people's careers, and maybe that's a little bit different from other companies. But I think that a manager's job is fundamentally, in terms of career development, is to do a couple things. One is to understand what does the company need at this moment in time. And two is everyone that comes in to a company comes in with a set of experiences they've had to date. And they come in with some idea of where they want to go. And there's usually a gap between where they are today and where they want to go.
Yep. And
when those two things stay aligned, the skills that I want to get are aligned with the things the company needs. Everyone's happy.
Yep.
And so the job of the manager is to make sure on some, not every day, but at some cadence, every 6 months, every 12 months, to make sure those two things are staying in sync. What the company needs and what the team member is trying to develop in their career, those things are staying in sync.
Yep,
because when they get
all throughout.
Because when they get out of sync, either what the company needs, the team member doesn't want to do or can't do, or what the team member wants to do, the company doesn't need, then there's a conversation about how do we help you
100%
go find somewhere else that is, going to get you to the place that you want to go that's more aligned with maybe what some other organization needs. But by and large, we found that as our company grows, the types of people that we ask to join the team are very motivated by solving hard problems. And there's no shortage of solving hard problems. It's an extraordinarily complex industry. And that people are able to continue gaining more and more skills in the way that they want to do in their careers.
That's awesome. Speaking of the industry, how do you see Capsule really influencing the healthcare landscape and really when it comes to like patient care and the industry standards moving forward?
We've built the very best experience that you can have in pharmacy. It is so simple to use, and both for the consumer and the doctor. And what I get really motivated by is there's a lot of companies that have done a good job building great consumer experiences and making your life easier with things that are frustrating, whether that's getting a ride, whether that's ordering food, whether that's getting your groceries, whether it's booking a flight, whatever. The most exciting thing for me is that when people use Capsule, they're 50% more likely to actually get their medications. And so it's by reducing the friction of doing something, something great is happening for people's healthcare outcomes and the healthcare system. And that to me is kind of the motivating thing, is that the better we can make the consumer experience, the better we can help you understand your medications. Why'd your doctor prescribe it? Why is this the price? Can we bring the price down for you? We can bring it right to your door. We remind you when you need refills. If you run out of refills, we call your doctor. We get a new prescription. You can text or chat with a pharmacist, an expert pharmacist, whenever you want. If you don't understand what a deductible is or anything about the healthcare system, which I'm still figuring out, 8 years in, there's somebody that's got your back. They're in your corner helping you do that. And that's awesome. In your pocket at all times. And I think that's the impact that you want and that we want to have in the healthcare systems, that people in some ways don't have to think about their healthcare, that there's somebody else that's engaging on that and just kind of in the background making sure that the things that need to get done so you can go and do the things that you want to do because you're healthy.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. It's such a nice complement to people's consumer journeys, right? It helps them on the emotional side be able to take away some of the stress that you just mentioned that you guys are offering.
And it's a very stressful thing in different ways. And it doesn't always have to be this grand story of it's grandma and she's in a fifth floor walk up and she can't get to the
Yep.
pharmacy. And by the way, that does happen. And we are an amazing solution
Hmm.
to support those folks. And that's a part of our customer base. But it can also be a busy mom who's running out at
Totally.
her lunch hour and her toddler has a crazy ear infection and is just in this like really bad situation where it's like, I don't know if my insurance covers it. I don't know if you have it in stock. My kid is crying. That's a high stress situation also.
Yeah.
And everything in between that.
Yep.
And so I think stress can come in different forms.
100%. Life
for sure.
happens, and a lot of times people prioritize their health on the bottom of it because they have all these other things to do.
Yeah.
So to your point about like the reminders on the refills and making it so easy for them, it's a really good resource for so many consumers. How are people finding out about Capsule?
The initial way, so we launched the business in 2016 in New York, and the initial way that people found out about Capsule was word of mouth. We launched it to a small group of our friends and family, and they had a great experience with it, and so they told other people, and they told other people. And one of the really interesting things that happened way back then was that some of those friends and family were doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And doctors started saying,
Give you
gosh,
credibility right off the bat.
yeah, doctors started saying, gosh, like if you think the pharmacy is bad for you as a consumer, you only go once or twice a month. Like I'm interacting with the pharmacy 20 times a day.
Yeah.
And so we've actually over time now built a bunch of tools to help doctors with all of the things that go wrong with the pharmacy. Because what ultimately happens is when you're at the pharmacy counter and something goes wrong, the first thing you do, like I try to do, is you take out your phone
Yep.
and you call your doctor. And your doctor and her staff are ill-equipped to deal with that. So we've done that. So that's kind of one big piece. And then the other piece, if you live in New York or Chicago or Austin or any other LA or any other big city where we operate, we do marketing to create awareness and trust and credibility with our consumer base, and that's pretty multi-channel. That can be outdoor advertising like billboards and taxis, streaming, TV, radio, kind of all of those things. And then the third place people find out about it is through partnerships that we have. A good example would be we have a partnership with Teladoc.
Okay.
And we're integrated right into
Makes a lot of
Teladoc's.
sense
Yeah,
right
we're
there.
integrated right into Teladoc's flow, and so you're firing up a visit with Teladoc, and it presents you with the option of using Capsule and having your medication delivered. Right? Like, why am I able to see a doctor at home, but then I got to go out to the pharmacy? It doesn't make sense. So bringing those two things together. But those are the three kind of ways that people find out about it.
Awesome. Speaking of Teladoc and obviously your services, I would imagine technology is such a crucial part of the business model, right? How does technology play such a pivotal role in Capsule's success?
Technology is everything. And one of the things when I was trying to understand why is the pharmacy so high friction, a lot of it comes down to having really archaic technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so the big pharmacy chains are using technology that was built in the 1980s and isn't digitally native, isn't built purpose-built. And so we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars to rebuild every part of the technology stack that powers a pharmacy. So it's not just the super, super simple app that you can download and manage your medications and your family's medications, and you've got price transparency, and you can do all the things in the app that you'd want to do. It's all of the things under behind the scenes that are powering everything we do, whether that's delivery, whether that's how we manage inventory, whether that's how we manage your insurance, all of those things we've built out. It's all the tools that we've built for doctors, the kind of the whole set of things. Technology is the backbone of everything we do. And it's a really important differentiator that's let us build this very delightful experience, and this experience that is driving people to be more likely to fill their medications. All of that's powered by the technology that we've built.
Yeah, it sounds like you're completely transforming the pharmacy experience for every consumer.
We've rebuilt every part of the pharmacy from literally the ground up, including the physical pharmacy, but most importantly, all of the technology that goes into powering it.
Yep. Makes that task a lot more easier for the consumers. Growth is really important, obviously, for any company, but growth could also pose a challenge, right? What are some of the key insights and the challenges that you guys are facing in a growth period, and how is Capsule going to overcome those?
It's interesting. One of the things that a mentor of mine told me early on when I started the business is that every time you triple and 10x the business, you need to rebuild your processes. And we've had a lot of triples and a lot of 10x's. over the time that I've been building the business. But I think it's rung true for me that every time the business kind of hits one of those inflection points, you need to rethink the processes
Hmm.
and how the company works. And so it could be everything from the way you were doing recruiting when you had 50 people is different from the way you need to do recruiting when you're 150 people, is different from the way you need to do recruiting when you're 500 people. That can be with onboarding, that can be with how you do expenses, kind of the whole set of things. And I think that's been one thing that's kind of rung true is making sure that as the business continues to grow,
Hmm.
that we're kind of updating the tape, so to say,
Yeah.
and making sure that we're keeping pace with the growth and making sure that our systems and our processes and the way we work and candidly the people on the team are appropriate for like that next stage of the business.
100%. And in that growth mindset, right? Like I'm sure there's different aspirations and milestones that you want to hit in the near future. Like what is next for Capsule? Like what are some of the short-term and long-term goals that you have for the company?
Long term, our ambition is that everyone uses Capsule. Every doctor in America, every consumer in America has the opportunity to experience Capsule because it's just better. It's better for your doctor. It's better for you. It's better for your family. That's the long term ambition: is that everyone has the opportunity to use it and loves using it. And then between here and there, there's a lot of things to get done between here and there, but that's the North Star. Is that this is the first thing that you think about when you think about your healthcare, and that we have the ability to serve a very big breadth of what you need to do in healthcare, not just the pharmacy, but other things that you may want to do that are adjacent with that. And we won't build all those things out. Healthcare is very complicated to go it alone.
Yeah.
We'll partner with other companies that are that do what we do as well as we do in pharmacy. We'll partner with other folks like Teladoc that's amazing at telemedicine, and there's so many other things to be able to
Hmm.
do. But our goal is to be able to be the place that consumers that think about when they think about what their healthcare needs are.
That's awesome. Well, what's the easiest way for our listeners to first use Capsule?
The easiest way to use Capsule, there's two ways to use Capsule. One, go to the website at www.capsule.com or in the App Store, download the app. You can put in 6 pieces of information: your name, your birth date, what your old pharmacy is, what your medications are, and then Capsule becomes your pharmacy. And you can kind of go through the flow and get free same-day delivery of medications and text or chat with a pharmacist. The other way, believe it or not, is even easier, which is you can simply tell your doctor the next time you're at the doctor that Capsule is your pharmacy. Your doctor will look it up in their system, and then the prescription will come to us, and we'll send you a text message,
It's awesome.
and then you'll be on your way. So it's very easy to get started. Takes less than 30 seconds to get started, and you can do that in 2 ways, either at the website or the app, or right at your doctor's office.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sold. I can't wait to use it myself. Eric, thank you for coming in today. Really impressive journey, really awesome mission and vision that created this company. And I'm really excited to see where you and Capsule go.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next week's edition of CEOs You Should Know.